This is the League Fantasy Football Podcast with your host, KY Jelly. Yup, you heard it right. It's me, the champ, back here with another The League Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 2. Now, I did not plan this episode. I originally was planning on having the next episode as our pre-draft podcast with Commissioner Taylor Davis, and we will be doing that episode. I'm just going to put it off for a little while longer with the whole coronavirus thing going on right now. We don't know how that's going to impact our draft location, so we're going to need to advise on that. But I thought it'd be fun in episode 2 if we went over a little 2020 The League Fantasy Football mock draft. So this isn't going to be typical mock draft. Best player goes first, second player goes second, third player goes third, and so on. We're going to have a little fun with this. I'm going to have a little fun picking for y'all. So I'm going to go behind a little bit of the reasoning that y'all are going to pick some of the players y'all are going to pick. And being a fantasy champion, I know these things. I know a lot about fantasy football. So, we're going to get started. But first, I would just like to say I'm excited for this upcoming season. This is going to be a title defense. So when I walk into the octagon every week to face my opponent, Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer, whichever one of them, is going to say y'all's name first when y'all come to play me, because y'all are the contenders. Each and every single one of y'all, all 11 contenders. So they're going to introduce y'all first. The audience is going to give a couple boos. They're not going to care too much about you. But then, when the lights go dim and the Buffer voice announces the champion, KY Jelly, the lights flash, the audience goes crazy. I do a little shadow box right in front of your face, and then the referee comes over, says, "Gentlemen, I want a clean fight. You may touch gloves now." I go to touch gloves with y'all. Y'all don't touch. I don't know why y'all do this. Y'all just don't. So I back up into my corner. The referee says, "Let's get it on." I proceed forward. Y'all take a step back in anticipation of what I'm about to throw. And it's a haymaker. And you get knocked out, KO'd. That's basically how it is when I play y'all in fantasy football. And then, as y'all are sitting there, laying down on the mat, Bruce Buffer comes over, announces me, and still the reigning champ, KY Jelly. Dana White throws the Marcus Lattimore jersey over my shoulder, and I strut off stage. Probably to some Taylor Swift, but we're not going to talk about that because I will be the the only person to ever in the league repeat as champion. That will be me in 2020. Alright, and then I wake up from the dream and we start this mock draft. So I slotted y'all each in randomly. First pick, we have Taylor Davis, the commish. I gave him first pick. He had it last year. He may have had it the year before. He may have had it the year before that. Don't really think it matters, but we're going to go with it. Last year, Taylor Davis, he picked number 1 overall, Saquon Barkley. And that's fine. He was well deserving after his 2018 year, his rookie campaign. He did pretty good. So in the 2020 draft, It is not Christian McCaffrey that Taylor takes here. It is actually Saquon Barkley. Yes, you heard that right. Taylor doubles down. Saquon Barkley, back-to-back years. And the reason that I have Taylor doing this is because he always makes the surprising pick. Somebody you don't think he's going to take in that scenario. Just like Marlon Mack last year, which he took in the 3rd round. We didn't think it was going to pan out. He actually did pretty good last year, so we can't knock Taylor too bad on that. But instead of CMC, the guaranteed lock, Taylor takes Saquon Barkley. He dealt with his injuries last year. He actually finished the season pretty good after he came back from injury, so that's who we have going number 1. Number 2 pick is Don Watson. It was sort of hard to me to determine who I was going to select for Don, because I really wanted Michael Thomas or Alvin Kamara here because they're Saints players, and I don't like the Saints. Most of y'all here don't like the Saints, and most of us here don't like Don. So that was going to be the selection there. But I changed it up. Don was the original champion back when we had a 6-team league, so it doesn't count. But he takes Zeke. And some of y'all might be thinking, well, that's not too bad. It's not CMC, the consensus number 1 pick by the experts in fantasy football. But Zeke, he's not bad. I could see him going number 2 if Zeke would have went number 1, him or Saquon. But here's the reasoning why Don takes Zeke. Which team does Ezekiel Elliott play for? The Dallas Cowboys. Nobody likes the Cowboys. Who likes the Cowboys? This is why I have Don taking Zeke. Because he is the human version of the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, Don, it's not the New England Patriots. You don't have 6 championships. It's the Dallas Cowboys and Don Watson. Moving on to number 3, we've got Thomas. Now, Thomas here, he already knows why he's in the number 3 spot. I have him taking CMC, Christian McCaffrey, the number 1 football in fantasy last year. The guy was a stud. He was on my team. I want him this year, but it's not going to happen. CMC, 2nd best running back season of all time in PPR leagues. Thomas takes him with 3rd pick. This would be the 3rd year in a row that the winner could possibly come from the 3rd overall pick. CMC was taken with the 3rd pick last year. I had it. I won. But the year before that, Thomas had the 3rd pick. He won. So could Thomas win with the 3rd pick this year? Last year, if we take a look back, Thomas selected, see if I can find it here, going through these notes, Thomas selected Michael Thomas. So maybe I should have had him select Michael Thomas, but no. He doesn't. He selects CMC. It's a good pick. On to number 4, Levi. This is where Michael Thomas comes in. Michael Thomas is always involved in some kind of Twitter beef, whether it's calling out Drew Brees, calling out people on Twitter for no apparent reason. You're a millionaire, dude. Chill out. You don't need to be calling out people on Twitter. But I feel like Levi is that guy in our league. He's the guy who tries to ruffle feathers, call people out, try to get on Malcolm's nerves. I'm not saying that I don't like Michael Thomas, but I don't like Michael Thomas. But what I'm really trying to say is he plays for the Saints. We don't like the Saints. I don't like the Saints. They're sort of pesky, just like Levi. So he takes Michael Thomas there. Last year, Levi took Alvin Kamara, another Saints player. So this sort of fits right here with the 4th overall selection. Number 5, I got Kyle Worley. He's taking Alvin Kamara, 2 Saints back to back. Last year, I believe Kyle Worley took 2 running backs back to back in the first 2 rounds. Yeah, he took Gurley and Nick Chubb, or Dalvin Cook, I think. Yeah, it was Dalvin Cook. So I got him going running back heavy here. And honestly, I just wanted to get past the second Saints player so we can move on to something positive. Malcolm, you're number 6. Just like last year, buddy. Sorry about it. So the 6th overall selection, there's still a bunch of good players left on the board. And Malcolm selects Marshawn No, not Marshawn Lattimore, I'm just kidding. Though he does select Dalvin Cook. And going through this mock draft, when I was finalizing my notes, I originally had Malcolm selecting a different player, but then I scrolled down, saw Dalvin Cook's name, and I was like, this is just too perfect for Malcolm. Dalvin Cook has a history of injuries. Malcolm, he loves running backs that have injuries, specifically career fatal ending injuries. So Dalvin Cook here, he's going to tear his ACL. So sorry to put that bad juju on you, Dalvin Cook, but Malcolm has selected you with the 6th overall pick. Last year, going through this, Malcolm took David Johnson, so the trend continues here. Malcolm selects an underperforming running back with very high injury potential. Number 7, we have Kevin, the runner-up of the 2019 fantasy season. Kevin here, going through these players, I have him taking Nick Chubb. And the reason is because of the UGA connection. Nick Chubb, he is probably going to be the main ball carrier for Cleveland. They have Kareem Hunt, who is dynamic. So Cleveland is going to hand the ball off to Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb, he's going to run into the red zone. He's going to get to the 5, the 4, the 3, the 2. And just when you think he's about to score, he's going to get stopped on the 1-yard line. Just like UGA. So close, but they can never punch it in and win the big one. So I have Nick Chubb going to Kevin there. Now with the number 8 pick, numero 8, I have Brandon. And Brandon, this is sort of a hard pick for you because all the running backs were gone. The wide receivers, I know you like Julio, I know you like Hopkins, but here I have you going with Patrick Mahomes. I just feel like you're in love with Mahomes. I feel like you want some of that $500 million contract he just got. You're going to pick Mahomes. So you're going to reach for the quarterback there. It's going to be hard for you to recover. This is going to put you behind a running back and a wide receiver, so we'll see what happens. Last year, Brandon selected Joe Mixon, sort of started off slow and then came back strong during the second half of the season. Number 9, Biko Orme, the snaggled one. I have him selecting, and this guy may or may not be a first-round pick, but it felt right. Kenyon Drake, running back, Arizona Cardinals, had an awesome year last year after he got traded to the Cardinals. Propels them to this number 9 overall spot. And the reason I chose for Biko to have this player was because Kenyon Drake was on the Dolphins. This running back who popped off last year was on the Dolphins and they let him go. This was perfect. Position rank, number 17 overall running back last year in PPR formats. So I felt like this was a great selection for Biko. And I know I'm ragging on the Dolphins, but I feel like Tua and all their draft picks this year are going to make them better. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take them a couple years, but just like LSU, Biko will probably be laughing in our faces in a couple years. Never mind. No, he won't. It's the Dolphins. What am I thinking? All right, number 10. The last 3 picks here. I'm just doing the first round, so this isn't going to be a full mock draft. This is just going to be a first round mock draft. Micah's always been solid. I feel like he makes the right moves in fantasy. last year selected Michael Thomas, the number 1 wide receiver, the number 2 player, besides quarterbacks in fantasy. So I feel like Micah always makes the right move when it comes to these first round draft picks, and they just don't pan out for him. The player might be okay, it might be okay on his team, but I feel like his team always underperforms. That's why I'm going with Devontae Adams. Who knows what Green Bay is doing? It's a solid pick, but they could hand the ball off to Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon 400 times. Who knows? Moving on, number 11, Joey. Now, last year, Joey selected Odell Beckham with his first overall pick. And I feel like that selection may or may not have been warranted. He was coming off of injury, and he got injured last year. So with the 11th overall pick, Joey selects OBJ. I don't know. I feel like Joey loves OBJ. Or maybe it was just last year how the draft fell. Who knows? OBJ, I mean, is OBJ. He cries so much in the media to his teammates post-game. I feel like his nickname should be OBJYN. Boom. Nah, just kidding. But yeah, that's the 11th pick. Joey selects OBJ. 12th is the champ left. And 12, I just have myself selecting Julio Quintorris Lopez Jones. I feel like he's going to pop off. He's going to have a good year. So this is going to do it for episode 2. I hope y'all enjoyed this mock draft. Some of y'all probably didn't with the players I had y'all selecting. But yeah, if y'all could actually draft like this, that would be awesome. That would help me out tremendously. Don't need help, but you know what I'm saying. So this is going to do it. And episode 3, I'm going to try to get Commissioner Davis on here. And we're going to go over some of the pre-draft stuff. And then the episode after that will be after the draft. And hopefully I can sort of sit down, do a episode sort of like this where I break down y'all's draft picks, roast whoever selects Marshawn Lattimore as the sleeper pick or somebody of the equivalent. And then during that episode, I'm going to give a breakdown of who I think had the best draft, who I think had the worst draft. And then after that, the season will start, hopefully, with all this COVID stuff going on. Hopefully it does start on time and we don't have any delays. I'll be doing my slideshow stuff, and then hopefully I'll get on here, do a week breakdown. I don't know if I'm going to do it every week or every 3 or 4 weeks, just give a breakdown of how the league's going, who's doing what, player trades. I'll definitely get on here, do that, big free agent pickups, and then I'll do a mid-season preview, or recap rather, and I'll just go over the teams who are in the playoff hunt, the teams who are in the Waffle House / Hot Ones hunt, whichever one we decide to do. I think the Hot Ones would be pretty cool. We could do like a live video feed for the podcast. I could interview the person eating the Hot Ones, ask him a bunch of random stupid questions. That would be pretty fun. So y'all let me and Commissioner Davis know what y'all want to do about that. I think it's a good idea. The Waffle House thing, I don't know. It's a good idea, but I don't see anybody live streaming them at the Waffle House for 12, 13, 14 hours. Plus, the wives / girlfriends might get mad. So I feel like maybe doing the hot chip challenge, where you get the hottest chip in the world. I'll interview you while you're doing the 15 minutes of hell that's probably going to be. Or we could do the hot wing challenge, different hot sauces, whatever y'all think. So let us know about that. I've ran a little long with this podcast. I didn't want it to be so long, but I also wanted to give some in-depth analysis of y'all's horrible draft picks. So that'll do it. Y'all be good. Champ out.